Hey, welcome back to this channel. So in this video, we finally get to talk about SSP conversion. Yeah, SSP conversion has been a while, quite a while, but it also took me quite a while to check every single one of these units, like I read every single one of them, and some of them are interesting, and so I want to share to you like my findings in this video. But again, remember, SSP conversion changes your unit to be like supposed to be extremely strong, but you know me, like if you do have favorite units in this game, like no matter what I say in this video doesn't apply to you, because if you like a unit, then if you do want to SSP conversion that unit, then it's up to you, like it's your account. It's more fun to play this game and upgrade your favorite units and win with it compared to just follow some random YouTubers on the internet. You do you. It's your account. It's your own fun. So, this video is just to give you an idea on how I do decide on which one is actually worth SSP converting and which one is not. Okay, so to start off with, I want to give you a website that is actually gonna help you a lot. But if you do want to check this website, do take a lots grains of salt. Okay, like you cannot really believe everything that is shown here. This website is eternalsp.net. You can check in here. Okay, so I've already shown you the Sausages website. This one is the Eternal SP website. It shows you, it answers this question, okay? Should I use SP chips on this mobile? Should tier list. But I always say, this game doesn't have a tier list, okay? So this list sucks because no matter how strong a unit is, if the text limitation on the state doesn't allow you to bring that unit, it's useless, okay, no matter how strong they are. And the tanks are always going to rotate, so everyone will be good in different situations, okay? So that's why you cannot really make a tier list out of this because of that. And he also have a pilot, and then there is here the SSP conversion list. Okay, you can check on the top here. So you can go to the SSP conversion. You can check this website later. But the way this website decide which one is good and not, I'm gonna show you why it's not always good on this website. Okay, look at this. We all know that GP01FB is one of the strongest, highest damage dealer in this game, but he is only at A+ because he has less stacks. Look at this. It only has this much stacks. Okay, 2 points. So this guy gives the GP01FB 2 points on the tanks. Now look at this Apion. We all know that Apion is a melee unit, okay? So why is he on S rank? The reason is because of this. He has so many tags, 4 points, but half of these tags are useless. Like, what's the use of transforming unit, White Fang, Zero System, Wing Series is okay, Commander type aerial use, and red? Like, we don't use any of them, even if in the future the text will be useful, but there is only one pilot that has an affinity tag when piloting the Gundam Apion, which is the Miliardo himself, okay, while the GP01FB can be piloted by every single EFSF pilot. Okay, so this kind of thing, you cannot just blindly make a formula and give them to every single unit and just decide like which one gets the most points and put them on the ranking. It's not always work like that, okay? But some of them actually are in the correct position. Like, look at this. Blue Destiny is here, Fleet Red Warrior as Gundam, Wing Gundam Endless Waltz, and then also the Full Armor Unicorn, High News, Heiko Gundam, Queen Manta, Sirenu Yakasuki, blah 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 blah. And hands up, Double Z Gundam is also here, Gundam X, 'Double Z Gundam, 80%, around 80% like of the units in here, I do agree they are there, okay. But yeah, you can just go here. It's good to use this website just to get a general view on. You can just click on the unit and it shows you like best zero tension weapon power is this much, like how much movement does this unit has, attack, then can transform, blah 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 blah. So in a glance you can take a look at every single unit. Like it saves a lot of times, just to take a look at this one, but it saves you a lot more times if you just go and watch this entire video. So going back into the Sausages website, I like the Sausages website because it doesn't have that kind of weird pointing system. Like even the pilots in this one, this guy values sway a lot more. Like let me show you this one. Okay, on top of here we have Wistario with sway level 1. It gives him 5 points for a sway, while this guy for a force guard gives him 4 points. Like I know that sway is really really good in PvE, but it is situational. Usually I myself only bring like 1 or 2 sway pilot in a stage, and it's already enough. I prefer to have like critical boost, attack boost. Sometimes we need utility like accuracy boost, like increase your accuracy by 100%. There is an enemy that has like 1 million mobility that you cannot even hit that guy. The accuracy is useful. Okay, finally. So it is situational, the sway, the accuracy, the skills are always situational, but attack burst, critical burst, force guard, and then MP boost are always gonna be the best one, okay? So it's not always way. Even MP boost also sometimes situational, so you cannot really judge it like that, It depends on the combination and how many units can the pilot, like EFSF pilot are insanely good because of how many EFSF units are out there, that kind of thing. Okay, so going back into the Sausages one, this one doesn't care about text, doesn't care about skills and abilities. It only lists units based on the attack stats and weapon power. Okay, so who gonna deal the highest damage? Okay, so from here I'm going to show you, like you can already see the settings in here. Weapon effect, I check the weapon effect, vigor, supercharge, critical, SP. I'm gonna compare it with the LB0UR. Conditional passive is on, and debuff. This is the most important one, okay? Because if you give debuff, like for example, if I give only the physical debuff, then Casval Gundams gonna deal higher damage than LB0UR units, okay, because of the physical attributes. But for UR units, they have double weapon attribute. Look at this: physical special, mostly physical special, beam physical. Look at that. So if I give multiple debuffs on an enemy, instead of increasing my damage by 35%, it now increased by 70% for this Liu Bei Unicorn physical special. So if I click the special here, Liu Bei Unicorn now deal higher damage than the Casval Gundam, all these physical special weapon attacker. So they are important, okay, the debuff. So because of this, there are some SSR units that have multiple weapon attribute. So I'm gonna show you my findings. This one, okay, on the top right corner, you can see that I have some units here that have multiple attribute attack, which is the Gundam Barbatus Lupus Rex, Gundam Barbatus Lupus, and then the Vidar, then the Michaelis, then the Chimaris Vidar, and also Grandmaster Gundam. Okay, so those are the units with multiple weapon attribute, and they benefit greatly from multiple debuff on the enemy, so their attack got increased. Okay, but among these units, only the Gundam Barbatus Lupus Rex is insanely strong because of this debuff. Like look at this, he even deal higher damage than most UR units in this game if you don't limit break them. Like look at him, he is among all these UR units. Okay, And then the next one is S Gundam, and then the Gundam Barbatos Lupus, then blah 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 blah. So the Barbatos Lupus are the ones that are very, very worth mentioning. And then the next one, I do have the Vidar. Okay, the Vidar is further down the line. So because he is an SR unit, so even though he gets a double weapon attribute, in terms of damage, he doesn't deal higher than a single weapon attribute because of the attack stats, because of the abilities. So always, at the end of the day, the SSR are always gonna be the one that is worth SP converting, okay? But there are some exceptions, so we're gonna go and check each one of them. So let's go into the, the game itself. We're gonna take a look at each one of the units that I find in here, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why they are good, okay, and how to use them, okay. First of all, the Gundam Barbatos Lupus strikes. Like, this is the #1 strongest SSP converted unit, okay. Like, this one has the Alaya Vinaya limiter off. This has physical and special weapon attribute. So, because it has a power of 6000 and this extra large mace SSP has power of 5940, when you don't give the enemy double debuff, then this extra large mace SSP, because it has critical damage 30%, it deals higher damage than the Alaya Vinaya limiter off without the multiple debuff. Okay, so when you are not on supercharge and the enemy is not debuffed yet, then use the extra large mace SSP. But if you already fully debuff your enemy, then use the Alaya Vinaya limiter off. This is gonna deal far higher damage because it gets the 35% damage increase. You know, it's higher than 15% critical damage. Now, aside from just this weapon, this guy also gets a 6 movement, which is insanely good. It is a bonus, you know, you don't really need movement for an attacker, but because this is a melee, you know, on top of being the highest damage dealer in the game as an SSR unit, it also has 6 movement. How good is that? You know, 13,793 attack here. This is already boosted by, you know, modification, so you can already guess like how high his attacks can be, okay? And abilities also helps a lot on him compared to the Lupus. Why is he still like deal higher damage than the Lupus? Because of this, you know, the Lupus only increase attack by 10% and then critical damage by 10%. This guy has another attack by 10%. So in terms of attack, he has higher attack than the Lupus. So compared to the Lupus, like the Lupus himself, where is the Lupus? I'm gonna search Lupus. Ada. Okay, so this one, if you SSP convert this guy, his weapon power can actually go up to 6,400. But why he still deal lower damage than the Lupus Rex and still deal lower damage than the S Gundam is because of his attack stats. He can only go up to 12,600 attack stats here. So his advantage is that he has higher HP and defense compared to the Lupus Rex, so not really much of a glass cannon, but you know, pros and cons, you know, if you are only care about dealing as much damage as possible, then just go for the Lupus Rex, okay? This one has quite a little bit difference on how you use this guy. The Swordsmith SSP, because its power is only 6,000, while the Alaya Vinaya limiter of has 6,400 weapon power. And also, after you upgrade to SSP, this weapon effect value up by another 5% in here, while this one is the closer you are to the enemy, greater weapon power increase. So critical damage always gives higher damage. So if you already get to supercharge, then this will always deal higher damage, the Alaya Vinaya limiter off, okay, compared to the Swordsmith SSP. So you will only use the Swordsmith SSP when you are not supercharged, okay? Whether the enemy is fully debuffed or not, the Alaya Vinaya limiter off always gonna give you more damage. So it also doesn't have 6 movement like the Barbatos Lupus Rex. So yeah, this is like second best for the SSP conversion unit. And abilities, I've already told you, he has 10% less attack in here, okay? So that is the Lupus, okay? Now next is the Vidar, okay? So like I said again just now, the Vidar, even though he has double weapon attribute, like it's not gonna deal higher damage because this is an SR unit. At the end of the day, he only has 2 abilities, okay, and also only one of it is increasing attack. So weapon wise, like it has the Alaya Vinaya type E, which is double weapon attribute. And this one, the SSP, also double weapon attribute. This is why he can, deal comparable damage to other SSR unit, but not against all the top damage dealer in the SSR unit. Okay, the closer you are to damage, get weapon increase, lower your remaining HP, get weapon increase. Attack is only 11,000. Okay, movement 6. So quite okay if you like Vidar. And the thing is that the difference between the Barbatos and the Vidar is that this is a Gjallarhorn. So only if you cannot bring Tekadan units in that kind of stage, only if you only can bring Gjallarhorn unit, then you have no choice but to use this. But if you can bring all IBO units, then the Barbatos is far better than the Vidar, So this is not really worth SSP converting, but I just do want to mention here in case this is one of your favorite units, okay? So that is the Vidar. Next, we have the Michaelis, okay? The Michaelis, in terms of damage, definitely gonna be far below all the other attackers, because at the end of the day, this is a support unit, okay? He only has, at maximum, like 9,000 attack, okay? So no matter how good he is in terms of like weapon and abilities, he will never deal higher damage than an actual attacker. Although he deal higher damage than some attacker, but not the best ones, okay? So abilities, he also have an advantage against gun arm. So if you don't fight against gun arm units, then yeah, you don't get the benefit of this attack 15%, So again, like SSP converting in terms of priority, you better go for an attacker, because support unit at the end of the day, like you only need them to debuff your enemy, and also this has a 6 range weapon, so this is great, but it is not that necessary. It's good to be able to attack your enemy and them not being able to counter attack you, but still, like, you are wasting SSP conversion material for this. But if you do have extra, like if in the future we have excessive amount of SSP conversion material, then this is one of the best support unit that you can SSP convert. Look, and also he has Javelin Bracer SSP. The SSP weapon gives high damage, but you can only do this on melee range. So if you do want to deal damage, go on melee range, and if you want to debuff your enemy, this is quite nice. Beam weapons damage taken up level 4 at 6 range. Although it is not the best, again, like I always say in SP conversion, even at SP conversion list, like for support unit, I do recommend to just go for UR units and ultimate units, because you do want their level 6 weapon debuff. No matter how bad they are, no matter even if they are at limit break 0, you only want their level 6 debuff, okay? So you will never use an SSR, SR, or even R support unit, okay? But that's why I only aim for their damage, okay? For a support unit, I only mention if they do, on top of being able to debuff your enemy, they also deal quite high damage. So that way you can at least give an attacker pilot on the support unit and actually deal some damage. And this unit is also quite okay, like he can be used in atmospheric. So yeah, among the support unit, Michaelis is one of the best. Okay. Then next is the Chimaris Vidar. Okay, Chimaris Vidar is another unit that can, give, has a double weapon attribute. So the Alaya Vinaya type E, this one has physical and special. With the power increase to 6,000, this gives him quite a high damage dealing to the enemy. And also this one SSP on melee range deal 6,180 power, and you also have a defense down level 5 at 6 range. Okay, so this is also great, but Then again, this is a support unit, so I don't really recommend. I just want to mention that he has a double weapon attribute. Okay, ability is also really great. Okay, but he cannot be used on atmospheric. Next, last one is the Grandmaster Gundam. There are quite some other. I think there are some other unit with double weapon attribute, but they are not worth mentioning at all. Because they are so. I think. Or maybe they aren't. Yeah, I forgot. But in any way, I do only recommend these 6 units. Okay, the Grandmaster Gundam is another unit that has a double weapon attribute. This one is on the Soaring Raven Gundam, physical and special. Okay, so he can deal quite some damage if you do debuff your enemy, but then again, he will not deal as high damage as an actual attacker. Okay, so the good thing about this guy is that this one, the Darkness Finger, okay, it get increased 3 times from the SSP conversion. So weapon power increase quite an okay, 350, and you can give defense down level for debuff to an enemy with this huge sniper weapon. Okay, so this one is okay, but movement is 4. So then again, this is just to mention that this guy has a double weapon attribute. Whether he is worth upgrading or not is up to you. Like I don't recommend SSP converting a support unit, but to decide whether all these support units with double weapon attribute are good or not, I'm gonna talk about them again in the later slideshow. So we're gonna go to the next one, highest damage. Look at this. So if you only want to deal as high damage as possible, like that is the whole purpose of the SSP conversion. When you when you have a favorite unit, like the unit that you use the most, deal the most damage, the one that you want to make as a main character, obviously you do want them to deal as high damage as possible. Okay, so I've already shown you in here in this list of the weapon ranking that you can just go take a look. My slideshow, and this one has similar unit. The first one being the Lupus Rex, and then after that go down become the Lupus, and then the S Gundam next. I only put the Lupus higher than the S Gundam because of the pilot. Mikazuki piloting the Lupus is so much better than S Gundam piloted by Shiro Amada. Like that is just because of the pilot. Like they deal almost the same damage. That's why the pilot is the biggest difference in here. So I put the Lupus as the second, and then after that the Alice as the third because of Zero. Okay, and then after that the Destiny Impulse, and then after that the Dark Gundam, and then after that I don't put the Comfort and the Goofy Giant in there because this is a melee Xeon unit. And like I said just now, we currently don't have a really strong UR melee Xeon pilot. The most we can get is Dozel Zabi. So at the end of the day, if you do want to just brute force it, you can just put Domon riding the Comfort and Goof, but you know that he will not deal higher damage than the Blue Destiny, actually piloted by his actual pilot, or even Ito Tsurugi. I forgot his actual pilot. Who is his name? Let me go again. The actual pilot is this one, Yu Kajima. Yes. So piloted by this one, a melee EFSF unit gonna definitely deal higher damage than Xeon unit piloted by Dozel Zabi. Okay, so that's the only difference. Now continuing on, we have the Blue Destiny and then the Bjarlan custom. Okay, so all these units are the ones that similarly with the SP conversion, like if they are already very much worth SP converted and deal the highest damage when SP converted, like other units doesn't really have a chance to overcome them if they can even upgrade it beyond to SSP conversion. Okay, so the Bjarlan custom, then the Red Warrior, again this one, same reasoning. We don't really have the pilot right now, so unless we finally get the build fighters series, then maybe we finally get the pilot. But right now you don't really have a good pilot for this one. Zaku also same thing, you don't have the melee pilot from the Seed series. And next is Gundam GP01 FB, okay, and I don't go below here, they are all comparably good. Same reasoning with the Gundam Flauros, like the other unit, like we don't really have a UR pilot for range IBO. And then the Nike Zeong, you cannot change the pilot, blah, 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 the rest, okay? So, they are the one that builds the highest damage. So you can just check this ranking, see. And again, I do want to tell you that this website haven't include the new abilities that you get from SSP conversion, okay? So one of the unit that suffered the most from that information not being here is the Dragoon Strike, okay? The Dragoon Strike gets a really good new ability when SSP converted, but because it is not shown in here, then the Dragoon Strike is far down the weapon ranking, okay, even though he should have deal higher damage than that, okay. Now that's the highest damage. You can just check the ranking for the where is your favorite unit in terms of ranking, or you can just check on them. So we go to the next one, okay. This one, okay, the 5-range weapon. Yeah, I need to change their order, okay. The 5-range weapon. So these ones are the units. Oh wait, I forgot to show you it's top right corner, okay. So the 5-range weapon. So these units, if you can see, it's very small. I'm gonna go from the top left, going to the right and down. So there is Gundam Flauros, Heavy Gundam, Alfred Hasmal, Penelope, Enhanced Double Z Gundam, Legend Gundam, Aerial Rebuild, Wing Gundam, Endless Waltz. Then this one is Half Pass, and then the Dragoon Strike, Phoenix, then the Hazelra, and then the Gundam X, and then Ultron Gundam, okay? These are the units that, because of this SSP conversion, become usable, Like previously, these units, even though they deal high damage, but they only have 4-range weapon. So they have a huge disadvantage in PvP. You cannot really use them in PvP because they cannot counterattack their enemy if attacked from 5 range away. But it all changed because of this SSP conversion. So that's why these are the units that I didn't the most useful when getting SSP converted, because finally the units that you previously cannot use, you can now use them and change your gameplay a lot. Like for example, if I only care about highest damage, like these units can already deal high damage, even by just SP converting. So they're already good enough at SP conversion. SSP converting just gonna increase their damage a little bit more. But the 5-range weapon, this one, changes their gameplay from the one that cannot attack at all, cannot counterattack at all when being attacked from 5 range away, now can attack back. So that is from 0 damage to whatever damage they can deal. So these ones are the ones that really great when SP converted. So I'm gonna go to the game inside here and I'm gonna check each one of them, okay. I'm gonna show you how to use them, starting from the Gundam Flauros, okay. I mean, just gonna talk generally why they are good, okay. This one has a 5-range weapon, power 6060, higher remaining HPs, blah 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 blah. Like I said, all these units that I'm gonna mention, they get a 5-range SSP weapon. Some of them are not, but yeah, you get the idea. 13,700 attack, really high because of this. Attack increased by 10%. When HP is 75% or above, attack increased by 15%. So yeah, insanely good because of this very high attack. The only downside about this guy is that you don't have a UR range IBO pilot, okay? So you just gotta have to settle with SP converting an SSR IBO range pilot. For the pilot list, you can go to the website just now. Just check the IBO range pilot. But yeah, only if you do want to use this guy. But at the end of the day, like, I just recommend you guys just put Amuro attacker or Shadow Asnable or maybe Zero Amado. Just put Zero Amado on this guy, or maybe Gato. You just put any UR pilot. Their high range stats will already overcome their lack of affinity tag. If you just go for the SR IBO range pilot, like they usually only have 700 range stats compared to the the UR ones with 800 plus. It's better to just use the 800 plus because the affinity tag final damage 10% increase is comparable to a 120, 150 range stats. Okay. So this is the Flauros, really high attack. That's his only advantage. Now you can use him from 5 range away. Next is the heavy Gundam. This is one of the really good EFSF unit. So this one, when SSP converted, have 13,000 attack. Movement very slow, but if they move slow, they become a walking calamity. So beam cannon SSP range 5, power 6120, critical damage can go to 30%, but EFSF pilot, I don't think you have one with the critical boost skill. So yeah, you need to try to find an EFSF pilot with the critical boost skill. Okay, now abilities, again, attack increase 10% when HP is 50% or above, increase all attack by 10%. This is why he has a very high attack stats. So really good. Now going next is the Alfred. Like I mentioned them based on their attack ranking. Okay, so in terms of the weapon ranking, Flauros still the highest, then the heavy Gundam, and then after that the Alfred without considering the pilot. Okay, so that's why I keep mentioning the lack of pilot, so that finally when we find the one with a really good pilot, you will finally notice that okay, this one is currently very worth upgrading just because it currently has the pilot. So this is the unit. Gunvolva SSP uses range and awaken stats, and we all know in the current banner we have Suleta as an awakened Mercury pilot. So this one piloted by Suleta can deal very high damage, although it still lacks the critical boost, so you cannot really make use of this critical damage increase. That is the downside of this guy. And also the tag. Okay, the tag sucks. It only has lightning fast and specialized unit. None of them have a limited supporter right now, so maybe in the future you can finally have a limited supporter lightning fast chip. But before then, this guy should just be in the corner of your mind. Okay, just keep it in your mind. It has attack 10%, attack when figure is max attack increased by 7% again, critical damage by 10%. This is why this guy is quite strong. Okay, now next we have the Hasmal. Again, this is a unit that should have in theory deal very high damage, but it doesn't have a pilot. Okay, so his tag is tough as nails, large machine, mobile armor, alternative series white, so he doesn't have a pilot tag, although it's kind of like a plus in certain situation. Like you can just use any pilot to pilot this guy. He uses range stats, so you can just put Zero here, you can put Gato in here, but knowing that you don't get the affinity tag bonus, some other unit who gets both the pilot tag with the affinity tag bonus and also high stats should still deal higher damage than this guy. Okay, so he only deal high damage. Attack increase 10%, increase on attack by 10% when HP is 50% or below. So you need him to be at low HP. That's the only way he can deal high damage. So even though right now in the weapon ranking he is quite high, but in practice he's actually not that high. Okay, you also have a beam weapon of strike line ammo 3, so SSP converting this guy, I don't really recommend, even though he deals high damage. So yeah, he's just there. Okay, worth mentioning, but you don't really want to SP convert this guy because we don't have the pilot. Okay, so next is Penelope. Okay, Penelope is one of the highest damage dealer here right now, and SSP converting this guy makes him even further there, like up there. So he previously can only attack from 4 range away, now he can finally attack from 5 range away. That makes him kind of the strongest EFSF unit in here, so very much worth it. The thing is that his only downside is that he is on the rival test type Psychomu Tough as Nails tech. So if only you have Minerva in the current banner, if you get Minerva, then you can finally use this guy for the limited supporter. Otherwise, you gotta have to settle with just the UR supporter. Although it's good, like you have a lot of options here. This is why this is one of the best unit you can, SP convert and SSP convert, because of that many tanks. Okay. And also the EFSF tech makes him able to be piloted by a lot of pilots, especially the one with the Awaken. Okay, so Amuro attacker really good when piloting this guy. Okay. And also the Mafty one, although he doesn't get the reduced damage taken. But actually, any Awakened pilot with double chance step, they don't really care about the affinity tag. You can just put them on any Awakened weapon unit, and the affinity tag only reduce your damage taken. But if you are like a glass cannon, you only care about damage, you can just protect this guy using support defense and don't care about your damage taken. Okay, so this is one of the really good unit, and with SSP you get a map weapon. Okay, so this one, every funnel unit will get a new map weapon every time you SSP convert them. So bear in mind, that's why the funnels one, you can how to say, like give them an extra point because they get a new map weapon. So attack increased by 10%, and when figure is max, increase attack by another 7%. So really good. This is Penelope. Next one is the enhanced Double Z Gundam. So who expected this to happen? Like enhanced Double Z Gundam, this was a long time ago. I made a video about the development diagram, and I put this guy really high in terms of a mention, because a lot of you guys are thinking about SR Freedom, like the really good unit in the SR rarity, but he is not alone, he is there together with the Justice Gundam, and then the Enhanced Double Z Gundam, and also the Double Z Gundam. Actually, but back then, the only one that has a 5 range weapon is no, he doesn't have 5 range weapon, right? The SR Freedom, the one that has practical use is the Freedom, just the Freedom, and also he has 3 ammo map weapon. So a lot of players want him because of his map weapon. This guy is quite forgotten, because the way to maximize this guy, you need to have him at tension max or greater to be able to use his 6000 weapon power. But right now with SSP conversion, he finally get a 5 range weapon with power 6300, and you can use both range and awaken stats, meaning that he can be piloted by both Asuna and Camille, and Camille being the pilot with the highest awaken stats in this game will deal insane damage piloting this guy. Okay, so this is why when SSP conversion first hit the game, this is the guy that I put my eyes on, okay? Because of finally this guy become insanely viable, you know. So attack 10%, attack increased by 5% again here. So yeah, in terms of tags, you know, you can use this in Psychomu and then one-shot killer. So yeah, if you do have a one-shot killer supporter, and I did mention this, like if I can get Lacus as my supporter, then I will eventually gonna SSP this guy, because I will definitely gonna use Camille to pilot this guy and enjoy this weapon. Okay, so really great. Now going next is the Legend Gundam. Okay, Legend Gundam also is the same. You know, previously he can only attack from 4 range away, although he is already shown a huge advantage. You know, like he you know, I mean, like not advantage, like disadvantage. This guy use critical damage by increase critical damage by 30% using awaken stats. So in the Seed series there are not many awakened pilot, so you can only settle with Reza Burel to pilot this guy. But then again, Reza Burel doesn't have a critical boost, so you cannot really make use of this critical damage increase. Eventually just putting Camille on this guy is worth much more than, you know, SP converting Reza Burel himself, because of how much awakened stats does Camille has, and also he has the critical boost. So then again, Camille become the best pilot to piloting the Legend Gundam. But right now with the SSP conversion, because this guy only has 4 range, you cannot really use him in PvP. You can now use him, you know, look at this, range 5, awakened stats again, and still the critical damage by 30%. So yeah, using Camille is the best decision to pilot this guy, even though his attack is only 11,800, but still, like, because of this critical damage, it is the best weapon effect that you can get. That's why his damage, he still deal very high damage, even though his attack stats is only 11,800. Okay, so abilities is one of his downside. Like he only has 1 attack increase in abilities. That's why he has quite a low attack. But it can be used in atmospheric. So like any other Seed units, like their advantage is on atmospheric. Okay, next we have the Gundam aerial rebuild. Okay, so again, reminder, the units that I mentioned in here, they are ordered by the weapon ranking, but not necessarily if you give them the pilot will still be in that order. Okay, so you can already guess like which one goes higher now because of the pilot. So the aerial rebuild, 12,500 attack, can be used in atmospheric, really great. Now he finally will have a 5 range weapon that doesn't require tension max or greater. So previously the aerial rebuild also have a disadvantage because his 5 range weapon requires him to be at tension max or greater. So at the very beginning of the battle, if you get attacked by your enemy from 5 range away, you cannot counterattack them, because your furthest attack without needing tension is just the Escutcheon. This only has 4 range previously, and it uses different stats. It uses awaken, this one use range. So if you use a range pilot, you just gotta have to wait until you are at supercharge or tension max or greater to be able to make use of your range stats. Otherwise, you need an awakened pilot. So it's kind of like, you know, clunky. You need to choose. But with the SSP conversion, you can use this weapon 5 range without needing any tension max or greater, and uses range stats. So you now know you have to use a range pilot to pilot this guy. Okay, it has a weapon effect of critical damage, but right now we don't have any Witch from Mercury pilot. I mean, like the one with high range. There is a Sophie Poulon that has a critical boost, but you know, he doesn't have that high of a range stats. Where is Sophie? Sophie, let me find Sophie here. Sophie, yeah, this one. Look at this. if you upgrade this guy with SP conversion, she only has 776 range. Although it's quite high, but you can still use a UR pilot to replace her. Okay, this is quite okay actually. She has double chance step, skill also MP up and boost critical, so this is quite okay, like very good as a range pilot. So if not because Suleta still has higher stats, let me see where is Suleta. You can still just use Suleta, she has 774 range stats, look at that, and this one can attack 3 times, okay, just because of that critical boost. That's the only advantage of Sophie, that critical boost. But you can just settle down with the attack burst in here and just hope that you can get that 10% critical rate to deal critical damage. And also the this Suleta Mercury, this is awakened stats actually. Yeah, you don't really want to use this one. So there is another alternative to pilot that guy, which is the Elan. Okay, so this is a new pilot, an SR pilot from the Witch from Mercury, and this is my next go-to SP converted pilot, because if you go into his details here, if you SP convert this guy, he has 746 range, a little bit below, but his ability, he has enhanced person level 3 in here, increase MP by 6, and also skill increase MP up by 5. So if you don't SSP convert your Gundam aerial rebuild, you can actually still use it at SP converted only, but when piloted with Elan Ceres here, because at the very beginning of the day, if at the very beginning of the battle, if he can move, because of this MP by 6, his AI will always gonna cast the MP up skill, making him go to supercharge straight away, and you can use his 5 range weapon from the very beginning of the battle, and you also have a range boost in here. So really good in piloting the aerial rebuild, this guy. Okay, and also this bonus applies for the aerial rebuild. Look at that. Yeah, so this guy really great. Okay, so going back into the aerial rebuild, but if you SSP convert this guy, you don't really need him anymore. Okay, any range pilot can pilot this. You can use Sophie, you can still use Elan. It doesn't mean that you cannot use Elan. You can still use Elan, Sophie, and also Suleta herself, the support one. Okay, so there is that. But Sophie, if you do want to make use of the critical damage 30%, yeah, Sophie is the best one. Okay, so that is the aerial rebuild. Next is the Wing Gundam Endless Waltz. Okay, this one. Okay, Wing Gundam Endless Waltz. This one also, when it first came out, like, it's not interesting enough for us to use this guy because he only has 4 range, and it also is a green weapon. So you know that this does not deal as high damage as the orange one, because the orange one has weapon effect, like this one, closer you are to them, increase greater weapon power, increased by up to 12%, but you need to be closer. So this ends up becoming more of a melee unit instead of a range unit. Yeah. So map weapon also not that interesting, just a straight line. So after SSP converting, now you can finally use this guy, because the Buster Rifle SSP has a 6060 weapon power and can be used at range 5. So this one finally become your go-to weapon, and you can finally use this guy in PvP to counterattack your enemy when attacked from 5 range away. So ability is also really great. If you deal damage, the more you deal damage, the higher your attack's gonna be. So you can finally use this guy and use either Hero Yui or I think the name is Soris or Quattro, So wait, who is that woman? This one, yeah, Soris. So you can use this one. This is Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, there it is. So yeah, This is quite okay, quite good. But if you do want to go for the lore, you can just use him, Hero Yui himself. Okay, so that is the Wing Gundam Endless Waltz becoming very, very usable. Okay, when you SSP convert that guy. Now, how fast I think that one? Yeah, this one. How fast Gundam? This one also another unit that gets a 5 range weapon. Okay. Tada, 5 range weapon on SSP. So quite an okay unit. The only downside about this guy is that you need a G Generation series pilot. So in the G Generation series pilot, there are not many pilot that is worth SP converting. So in the end, you're gonna just settle down with any UR pilot that you can find. Okay, that has a range stats just to pilot this guy. Probably another Zero Armada or maybe Gato, you know. So yeah, that's the only downside. But he actually deal high damage in terms of the unit alone. So yeah, there is that. Then the Dragoon Strike, again, this one is further down below the rank. Like I'm only mentioning him right now, but it doesn't mean that he deal low damage, you know. It's just because he is not calculated with the abilities in mind yet. Okay, so I cannot really put him above because I don't know how far he goes up because of these abilities, you know. Like look at this, we talk all the units that we talked just now are all around 11,000 attack. This guy has 13,000 attack, comparable to the top damage dealer we mentioned just now, the Barbatos, the S Gundam, the Heavy Gundam, the Destiny Impulse, blah blah blah. So this should become like the highest. Like I won't be surprised like if he goes higher than the Flauros, you know, the first unit that we mentioned just now in this category 5 range weapon. So this guy, because of attack 10% and attack by 15% when HP is 75% or above, should deal insane amount of damage. And now you can attack from 5 range away using weapon power 6000 and awaken stats. The higher remaining HP, the greater weapon power increase. So again, a really good weapon effect, and you can use him in atmospheric. So really great unit. Okay, really strong. The only problem is that you do need a triple ships alliance pilot, and currently we only have 3 triple ship alliance UR pilot, which is the Kira Yamete support, Atrun, he is a durability pilot, and then Lacus herself, she is a support pilot. So we don't have an attacker triple ship alliance at UR rarity. So if you do want to use an attacker, you need to SSP convert someone, but you can just settle down with Kira Yamete support pilot. Okay, because the Kira Yamete attacker is orb attack. But then again, the orb attack only increase your reduced damage taken, so you can just use any pilot actually. You can just use him and don't care about the affinity tag. That's why the double chance step pilot, the double chance step UR pilot, I'm very excited to get all of them, because you can just use them to pilot any units, basically. You don't really need the affinity tag from them, So this is the Dragoon Strike, should be really strong, really great, if not because the abilities is not yet calculated. So it should be far above, okay, in terms of ranking. Now going next, it's the Phoenix Gundam. This is also another unit that is worth SSP converting, because he finally get a 5 range weapon, power 5880, critical damage increase 30%, can use a range and awaken stats. So again, you can just use Camille Bidan to pilot this guy, or you can just use Mark Zuckerberg to pilot this guy, okay, the actual pilot. Although the actual pilot, even though he gets the affinity tag, but he won't deal that much higher damage, because it is a support pilot, and also he doesn't really have that good of a stats, Like, look at this. This guy has 760 awakened stats, like, you know, comparable to SSR pilot, not even 800, you know. And a character skills also, none of them increase your damage, and the affinity tag also only restores squad HP. So he becomes a healer actually if you do use him to pilot the Phoenix Gundam. Okay. So if you actually aim for damage, you can just use other pilot. So that is the Phoenix Gundam. Next is the Hazora. This one. Okay. So this one again gets a 5 range weapon. Okay, long blade rifle SSP, power 5880, higher remaining HP, greater weapon power increase, uses range stats. The good thing about this guy, the unique thing about this guy is that it's a Titans unit. Okay, so you can use Paptimus Sirocco to pilot this guy. And Paptimus is an offensive support pilot, so it works great. You know, he can deal as high damage as an actual attacker pilot. So that is great. Okay. So this guy, yes. Previously, in the SP conversion list, I actually mentioned the Rairu better than the Hazelra. Because the Rairu, when SP converted only, he worth much more than the Hazelra. Because it has higher weapon power, you know, when SP converted compared to the Hazelra. But when we talk about SSP converting, then Hazelra now become better than the Rairu. Okay, whether you want to use them or not, you do need Paptimus Sirocco and also the tag. Again, back to the tag. Okay, like the tag is the most important one. If you don't have the supporter for their tag, then you know they're not gonna be that good. You know, compared to other units that is of lower weapon ranking, but you do have their supporter. You are supporter especially. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to the Gundam X. Okay. This one is an SR unit, but he gets a 5 range weapon attack, you know, after SSP converting. So this one also quite okay because he has 11,900 attack, comparable to other attacker we saw just now. Okay, so not that bad after you SSP convert this guy. The only problem is that we don't have a good freedom pilot yet, but we all know that the second part of the Gundam X story gonna come out soon. So hopefully at that time we're gonna get a Gundam Double X pilot, and he maybe can pilot this guy. But then again, we're gonna take a look at all the new units that come with that second story part. So if there's a better unit than this guy, it's better to just SSP convert that guy instead of this one. Okay, because at the end of the day, this is an SR unit and it only has this much abilities. Okay, so that is the Gundam X. And the next is the Ultron Gundam. Ultron Gundam, ever since the very beginning of this game, like, has been a very unique unit because it is a melee unit but with a 4 range attack. Okay, a melee with the highest range. But now after SSP converting, you now can attack from 5 range away with a melee weapon. How good is that? Yeah. So if you want to use a melee pilot but can attack from 5 range away, this is your guy. Aside from the God Gundam, okay, like all those Kamehameha user are a cheat. Okay, this guy, worth mentioning, has 12,191 attack, 5 range weapon melee, and now you have another a melee weapon, but not as good as this one. Like, look at that. The weapon power. Although if you can deal critical damage, this should deal higher damage, but again, same problem, like we don't have the pilot yet for this guy. Okay, so maybe in the future, once we have the second part of the Wing Gundam story, which is the Endless Waltz, then we can take a look at this guy again. So those are all the 5 range weapons, okay, and their advantage and their usage, okay. Now we go into the next category, which is the map weapon. So this map weapon are the units with very high map weapon damage, okay. First one is the Devil Gundam, then the Psycho Zaku, then the Penelope, then the Vayat Suivan, then the Strike Freedom Meteor, then Goldframe Amatsu, and then there is this guy, okay. So that guy is a Moebius nuclear weapon. So let me search him first. Moebius, okay, this one, Moebius nuclear missile. So why is he there? The only reason I put him there is because he has a very unique map weapon once you SSP convert this guy, which is this shape, you know, like this is the shape of all the other funnel unit map weapon that they get from SSP converting, but this guy has a bigger target area. Look at that. With the funnel map weapon, we only have 1 square away from the point of attack. This one has 2 squares away from the point of attack. So this is the closest we get from GP02A, a nuclear map weapon, in terms of size. Okay, that one is even bigger than this one, but yeah, this is just that unique that I want to mention this guy to you guys, okay. In terms of damage, because this is a durability unit, it's not gonna deal that much damage, you know, so I only put it there for the fun of it. If you do want to hit a lot of enemies at once, okay, but not gonna deal that much because this guy only has 8,000 attack, okay. So just to mention him there. So in terms of map weapon, starting from the Devil Gundam, okay, or no, Dark Gundam, I mean Dark Gundam. So the Dark Gundam final form has always been the strongest map weapon attacker, because look at that, he has 14,785 attack. In terms of attack stats, this is insane, okay, and this is, remember, this is already modded, okay, he already been given a modification. So this guy has the strongest map weapon, and also it is a 360 map weapon, okay, just like the Big Zam, but with a smaller unit. So really great. You can hit a lot of enemies with this, power of 4,200. The only downside is that it only has 1 ammo, okay, so there is that. And this is also, if you do want to if you do have Master Asia, he can be one of the strongest damage dealer in the game, okay, just like in the ranking, the weapon ranking. So we've already talked about him a lot, you know, attack increased by 10%, attack increased by another 15% when HP is 75% and above, and you can restore on HP and energy by 5% at the start of every turn. So yeah, really great. Next is the Psycho Zaku. The reason why Psycho Zaku is here is because Psycho Zaku is a very unique map weapon attacker, because his map weapon has double weapon attribute. Look at that, beam and physical. So if you manage to give debuff to your enemy, beam weapon damage taken up and physical damage taken up, you can actually deal higher damage on this one, although it's not as high as the Dark Gundam, but still, like, it's worth mentioning up here because of this, okay, he can deal a lot. So if you do put him in a team where you put another map weapon attacker that put an AoE beam damage taken up debuff, and then put another map weapon attacker with physical damage taken up debuff, you can deal the highest amount of damage using this map weapon. I mean, like you know, you can hit a lot of enemies at once and get all the benefits of those 2 debuffs. But anyway, the situation is very niche. You theoretically you need to perform that perfectly, and also the enemy need to survive getting hit by 3 map weapon. In reality, like most of the time they are gonna die. Like you don't need to overkill them that much. Just using a normal map weapon once should have finished them off. If not, 2 map weapons should have finished them off. You don't need 3 map weapon with full debuff like that, okay? But it's worth mentioning because Psycho Zaku is also another unit that if you SSP convert, he get 5 movement. When piloted by Daryl, he actually gets 6 movement. And also because Daryl get 30% range boost when piloting the Psycho Zaku, this unit can also deal some serious damage. Okay. Although I still prefer to use the UR Psycho Zaku if you do want to use Daryl. Like Daryl is best to just pilot the UR Psycho Zaku instead of this one. If you do want to bring both of them in the same team, okay, the attacker version and the support version of the Psycho Zaku. Okay. Although his weapon is still only at 4 range, so you cannot really use him in PvP. Okay. Then comes the Penelope. Yes, we already talked about the Penelope just now. The map weapon is really great just because when SSP converted, he is one of the highest damage dealer in this game. Okay. Now going next into the Fire Suifan. Okay. This one is actually have a very high attack. Look at that, 13,000 attack. So he should deal high damage. Like among the weapon ranking, he is like not far behind from the GP01 FB, the one that we mentioned last in the highest damage dealer just now. But he already has a 5 range weapon, so upgrading him to SSP doesn't change his gameplay. It only increases his damage, just that. But because he has very high attack, so this map weapon, it's only a straight line, but it is one of the map weapon that deal very high damage. So if you do want to use him piloted by Soris or Hero or Quattro, he is the strongest Wing Gundam series unit right now. But I do recommend to just wait for the Endless Walls to come out. Okay. Now the one unit that is really good when SSP converting is actually this guy. Because this finally has a 2 ammo here. The ammo get increased, so you can use this weapon twice, the map weapon twice, with a power of 4,550 and the attack stats of 13,240. So this guy can deal serious map weapon damage, although not as high as Dark Gundam, but it is definitely the second strongest, if you don't count all the downside of the other unit we have just now. Maybe Penelope can compete with this guy's damage, but he has more ammo. So yeah, if you do want to at least SP convert this guy just to be used as a map weapon attacker, The SSP doesn't upgrade much from the Barrage, so that's why, yeah, you can SSP convert this guy or just settle with SP conversion. He already really good with just SP conversion. Okay, so now comes the Gold Frame Amatsu. Okay, Gold Frame Amatsu, again, same thing with like the Strike Freedom Meteor just now. With SSP conversion, he now get 2 ammo on his map weapon. So really great. Like usually most of the time in stages, you only use 2 map weapons and that's it. The game is already done. Because you need to finish the stage as fast as possible, and in most PvE stages, you need to finish the stage in 3 turns. So having 2 or 3 map weapon ammo is already enough. Okay, more than that is overkill. You won't be able to use your 4th map weapon anyway, because if you aim for 3 turns end, then or because the PvE stages ends at 3 turns, then there is no way you have a chance to use your 4th map weapon ammo. Okay, so that's why the SR Freedom, even though he gets another ammo, it's overkill. You know, you will never use that extra map weapon ammo. So I don't really put him in here because he is great. Yes, SP converted, he is a unit with the highest map weapon ammo. Like you can use his map weapon every single turn. But in terms of damage, he is not comparable to this guy or the Strike Freedom or the Dark Gundam. You know, their damage is so far higher than the SR Freedom that if you do want to just deal as much damage as possible using your map weapon, then just go for this guy, not the SR Freedom. You know, so this one has a melee SSP weapon, range 1 to 4, so quite okay. You know, because his strongest weapon is at 3 range, so upgrading to it to 4 is quite an okay thing to do. So let's take a look at the SR Freedom. Okay, so the SR Freedom here, where is he? There we go. Yeah, this one, look at this. He only has 12,300 attack. So compared to like the Dark Gundam with 14,000 and the Strike Freedom Meteor with 13,000, you know that he will not deal as much damage as them. And his SSP weapon reduce his power. Look at that. His full burst mode still deal higher damage than this. Okay, so this is why yeah, I don't really put him that high if you do want to SSP convert this guy, because there are a better unit to be SSP converting than this guy. Okay, it increased his ammo to 4, but like I said, it's overkill. So yeah, you will just still use his full burst mode. So this SSP conversion only increases damage. That's it. You don't use his SSP, your map weapon doesn't increase by power, increase by ammo, which you will never use, you know. So SSP converting this guy really only increases attack. That's it. Attack stats. So just settle with SP converting this guy. It's already enough, you know. So that's why he's not in the SSP conversion list. Okay, now I have these 2 special units that I want to mention to you guys. Okay, the Grandian and also the Tieran. So Grandian is an SR unit, an attacker SR unit, but if you SSP convert this guy, he is one of the 2 units that has a 6 range weapon. Look at this. This is an attacker with a 6 range weapon. Okay, 11,800 attack. So all the other units that can get a 6 range weapon are mostly 99% of them are support unit. So they can at least at most only has 9,000 attack. So that's why this guy, if you do want to kill enemies from far away, then this guy has a 6 range attack with 5,760 power, and also the higher remaining HP, the greater weapon power increase. So yeah, worth mentioning, like if you even in PvP, if you do want to attack your enemy without them being able to counterattack you, this guy has a natural 6 range weapon. How good is that, you know? So yeah, if you go to PvE and use a pilot that has a range boost, you can attack your enemy from 7 range away. You know, his only downside is movement. He can only move 3 squares. Look at that. This is a walking turret. So yeah, that is Grandian. And the other one is the Tieran. Okay. This one also another unit. Oh yeah, and Grandian can only be used on ground. Okay, so this guy can also only be used on ground and also on water. When you SSP convert the Grandian, he can be used in what is that? This is the underwater. Okay, while the Tieran have a penalty on underwater, and once you SSP convert this guy, he can be used in underwater 2. So look at that, 6 range weapon, the farther you are from the greater weapon power increase, power 5580 with 11,751 attack. Look at that. So yeah, if you want to attack your enemy from far away, these are your snipers, okay, the Grandin and the Tieran. So quite a unique unit to be SSP converted. So yeah, this is the advantage of reading every single one of these units. Took me a long time, but yeah, those are the unique things that I found out when doing that. Okay, now finally we get to the supporter. Okay, the supporter, like I said, doesn't really have any advantage, you know. Like, it's good to have a 6 range weapon, but you know, you don't really need to do that, you know. Like, you can just put your units near your enemy and then standby and then attack using other unit and just support attack so that you can put your debuff. You know, the most important thing for a support unit is just the debuff. Okay, so if you do want to SSP convert a support unit, then your aim should be the damage, not really on the range. So the damage here, you can see we have the Michaelis, the Gundam, that is the full armor, right? MK, I think this one, full armor Gundam MK3. Yeah, this one. This guy also have you know, high attack stats and weapon, you know, but only 5 range, defense down level 5. Look at this. This is the reason he has high attack. Okay, when HP is 75% above, increase attack by 15%, making him able to have 11,000 attack as a support unit. Okay, it's already as high as, you know, an actual attacker. Look at that. So this guy, Michaelis, the reason Michaelis is there is, you know, the double weapon attribute. Okay, and then after that, the Zaku. This one, Gunner Zaku. Yes. So Gunner Zaku Darka Elfman has 11,191 attack. Again, same thing. Reason is these abilities. So if you do want to deal damage, like, you know, you don't really care about the weapon effect increase, because all these units, I've already went through all of them, and none of them has a level 6 debuff except for Caliban. Okay, we're gonna talk about Caliban next. So yeah, you eventually will just settle down with UR units and also ultimate units to do your debuff. Not gonna use this guy for debuff. So weapon effect useless, weapon range also pros and cons, you know. So just attack stats is what you want from these units. And then there is also the strike freedom. Strike freedom also has high attack, you know, this one. So this is quite okay, like, because the strike freedom can be piloted by Kira Yamete. He is an orb unit. Okay, so Kira Yamete attacker get reduced damage taken when piloting this guy, but then again, you better off just pilot the strike freedom meteor. Okay, look at this, power 6,300 weapon power at range 5, full burst mode SSP, and then the full burst mode 6,400. Okay, range 5. So yeah, his damage comes from the weapon power, okay, not the attack so much, but you better off just use the strike freedom meteor if you do want to aim for damage. The rest also, the Kimaris Vidar, the Shining Gundam, then the Banshee, and then also the who is that guy, the one with the Hades weapon, I forgot, let me check which one is that guy. I forgot his name. This guy, yeah, the Pale Rider. Okay, the reason why he deal high damage is because he has this Hades. Okay, Hades SSP, power 6,300 as a support unit. What the hell? So yeah, that's the only reason he's up there. Okay, so next we have a 6 range support. So I've already mentioned that the 6 range support is kind of like you know, not really that important. So from here, if you do want to debuff your enemy from 6 range away, my recommendation is these 6 units. These are the ones that get a 6 range weapon from SSP converting, and deal high enough damage to at least be considered. Like there are a couple other units from SR and below to have a 6 range weapon, but I don't recommend to even take a look at them because it is an SR unit and an R unit. On top of being a support unit, your attack is not that high, your defense is not that high as durability unit. So the SR1 is even worse. You don't have any abilities to support you. Like this is an SR unit, so that's why I look at this abilities not that good, but for some reason he has a 6060 weapon power, so yeah, he is quite okay, like because this is a huge unit, so map weapon also can hit two lines. So Jormungand. And after that, the Satan Gundam. Satan is very unique. Like his damage come from his modification. So if you go into his details in here, his weapon can go up to, if given the correct modification, can go up to 6,600 weapon power. Okay. I think that's the highest number we can see on a weapon. So this one, yeah, if given the staff, this one increase special weapon power by 7%, increase again another by 5%. So that increases weapon power. Okay. Now the Buster Gundam, the Priest Ganteng, the GM Sniper, and also that guy, I forgot his name. Yeah, they all have 6 range weapon. The only one that is worth mentioning to if you even want to SSP convert them. But like I said, I don't really recommend. I totally don't recommend SSP converting this guy, even though they have a 6 range weapon. Okay, you better off just use your SSP conversion to go for an attacker and durability unit. Okay, so next we have a level 6 debuff. Okay, so we mentioned Caliban just now, so this is the only support unit that if you do want to use this guy and SSP convert this guy, then just think about the Caliban. Okay, this is the only one that can at least compete with UR units and also ultimate units. Okay, can be used in atmospheric. Stats is also quite okay. Have a map weapon. Look at that, huge. This is a small unit, but has a 3 lines map weapon. Okay, just like the full armor level Z Gundam. Okay. So variable rod rifle SSP, he also get a 5 range weapon, power 6060 when SSP converted, but this only gives you a level 5 beam weapons damage taken up debuff. The best one from him is this one, defense down 30%, but because the abilities when vigor is supercharged or higher, improve decrease defense weapon effects by 5% additively. Okay, so this one increased by another 5%, ending up with a level 6 debuff. Okay, that is the Caliban. And then the Grace commander type, this one, Grace Ritter, instructor type. Okay, this one has been previously one and the only SSR unit with a level 6 debuff. Look at this, attack down 35%. Now comes with an SSP version, but it only has a mobility down level 5 debuff. Okay, so yeah, this guy, and comes with a 6 movement. Okay, so movement becomes really important for a durability pilot. Okay, so because with more movement they can cover more allies, because they can go to their allies even when blocked by the enemy. So yeah, movement, that's what you need to aim for a durability unit. But before the movement, the most important one from the durability unit is the preemptive strike. Okay, this preemptive strike is a new weapon system that comes with the Hathaway series. So with the preemptive strike, it is exclusive right now just for a durability unit because it allows you to attack your enemy before they attack you. So if given a support pilot on this durability unit, they can attack their enemies first on a counter attack before the enemy attack you on their own turn. So yeah, that's the most important thing for you to look for in a durability unit, and the best one that has this preemptive strike and also the very best unit to SSP convert among the durability unit is the Burning Gundam, the God Gundam. And when you SSP convert this guy, he can be used in atmospheric. How insanely good is this guy? Look at this. Sekia Tenkyota and SSP decrease beam weapon power by 25%, power 6180 with a range of 2 and 4. So really great. The only problem about this guy is that you don't have a UR support pilot for this guy to make use of the preemptive strike, but you can put Domon Kasu on this guy, and every time the enemy attack you, you kill them first. Although he only has 8,900 attack, but if the enemy is of a standard average minion, they will die. You will not kill like a stronger enemy using a durability unit, but still, that's a really funny thing to see when the enemy attack you and they die first on their own turn. Preemptive strike. So that's how you make use of preemptive strike. Okay, if you use a durability pilot, that means that only if the enemy attack you, then you can reduce their damage first before they attack you, making you able to survive much longer. Okay, so that's the use of the durability pilot. If you use the attacker pilot, you can attack your enemy first and probably kill them first before they attack you. That's the preemptive strike for an attacker pilot. For a support pilot, when the enemy attack your friend and you can support counter, then you will be able to reduce the enemy's attack first before they attack your ally, hopefully letting your ally survive. So that's why a support pilot on a preemptive strike unit is really good. And this guy doesn't have a support pilot for the Mobile Fighter G Gundam series. Now, another really good thing about this Burning Gundam is that when you SSP convert this guy, he get an extra defense from his first ability. His second ability is turned into a heal, and your damage reduction from 4 spaces or more increased by another 10%. So this is the most important one when you want to take a look at a durability unit to be SSP convert, because this increase your survivability. Because at the end of the day, if you support defense your allies, your weapons doesn't matter. Okay, so because you're not gonna attack your enemy back, so that's why when you use them as their intended purposes, support defending your allies, you only use your abilities and your HP and your defense stats and your movement, okay, to be able to reach your allies. So those are the important things from durability unit. Hence, the Burning Gundam has the highest increase on all of his abilities when SSP converting, okay, making him on the top of the SSP conversion list among the durability pilots. But still, my recommendation is to go for attacker first before you go for the durability unit. Okay. And next one, for these units in the durability list for the preemptive strike, I don't put them from ranking. I put them based on the pilot availability. Okay, because For the Burning Gundam, still it's on the top. Okay, not the pilot availability for the Burning Gundam. It's just because he is just the best. Upgrading 3 abilities at once is beyond any other units can have. The next one is DO. The only reason I put DO in here is because you have Paptimus Sirocco to pilot this guy. Okay, and he gets a damage increase. When SSP converting, look at that. His attack get increased, and then another attack increase here, although it's not as high, but still, if you put Paptimus Sirocco as his pilot, you can deal high damage on your enemy, because Paptimus is an offensive support pilot. So this 6120 weapon power using awakened stats can deal some serious damage to your enemy. Okay, so this gives attack down level 5. The only downside about this guy is the range is only 3. Okay, so you need to position yourself very, very carefully to be able to support counter using this weapon and reduce the enemy's attack before they attack your allies. Okay, so this is the O. And then the next one is the Hyakuseki, full armor Hyakuseki, because that guy has Asuna as the pilot. Okay, Asuna is really good when piloting Aiyuk unit, so the full armor Hyakuseki is there. Then next one is, okay, this is connecting. Don't know why. Network connection is bad, so I'm gonna continue here. So looking at the list in here, I just put them in order based on their availability pilot. Okay, so yeah, I think not really availability pilot. Yeah. It's a little bit random compared to the other list that I have. So next we have Hyakuseki, this one. Okay, this one also, after SSP converting, you get a preemptive strike at range 3 to 4, power 5940 using range stats, reducing an enemy's attack. And this guy can be piloted by Asuna to be able to make use of this preemptive strike when the enemy attack your allies. So other than that, if you use him using his own purpose, just like the O, he doesn't really increase his survivability. Look at that, just the stats. But he does get a 5 movement from the 4. Okay. So quite an okay one. You do prefer his preemptive strike rather than his survivability. Next is the Daryl Balt, this guy. Now for the Daryl Balt, this one actually has a natural preemptive strike. So you don't really need him to be SSP converted. When you SSP convert this guy, it increases the weapon effect value by another 5%. And you also have this weapon. Okay, although this one is not really as useful as the preemptive strike, but you also get a 6 movement here for the Daryl Belt, and also just that. Okay, so this one, if you do want to use this guy, you can use Suleta to pilot this guy, or you use because this one, the preemptive strike use range stats. Okay, so you can use the Suleta supporter, and then Suleta support. And if you use the actual durability pilot, you have what's that woman's name? This one, Norea. Yes, you can use Norea for a double support defense, or you can just use the this one. Although you don't really get this one. I think you don't get this one, the gun arm bonus. Just now what's the Daryl Belt. Yeah, you don't get the gun arm bonus. I think there is also his actual pilot, Gal. I think the SR Gal. Let me check. Yeah, this one. You have SR Gal as the actual pilot for Daryl Belt. But then again, I don't recommend SP converting this guy. I just skip that guy. Okay, that's the Daribald. And then after that, there is Dantalion. Okay, Gundam Dantalion, this one. So all these units that I mentioned in the preemptive strike here, they are there because you can use a support pilot. This is a mercenary, so you can put Argy Mirage to pilot this guy, Argy Mirage UR, and get the mercenary tech bonus, but not the astronaut bonus. Okay, so this guy can use that, and there are a lot more units that has a preemptive strike, but I don't put them here just because they have 2 range, okay? Except for the Grace Ein. The Grace Ein, even though his preemptive strike is at 2 range, but he get a survivability increase. Like, look at this. He has a 2 range preemptive strike, but in terms of abilities, he gets this. When HP is 50% or below, restore HP by 30%. So yeah, that's the only reason why I put him in there, and also get a 6 movement. So you can take a look at these units. I'm just gonna make this bigger, just so that I don't want to explain each one of them. Basically, they all have an advantage of, if you can put a support pilot on them, they can preemptive strike from 3 range or above, 3 or 4 range. Okay, these are the units that are worth mentioning in terms of preemptive strike. Okay, so there is that. And lastly, this one, improve survivability. Okay, so the durability unit, like I said, if you do use them, the most important thing about them is the abilities increase. So if you get something increased from the abilities, then I put them in here. Meaning that if you use them to support defense your allies, they get advantage from upgraded into the SSP. But it doesn't mean that they are the best in terms of support defending, because like the actual unit that are already very good, like for example full armor unicorn, he is already at the very top when in terms of survivability. So from SP conversion to SSP conversion, he only got upgraded a little bit. Okay, his survivability only increased by a little bit, but he is still one of the top ones. So we're gonna go to the Sausages website to just determine that later. So the units that I put in here are the ones that actually get a very interesting abilities increase. Like for example, the Gundam XD Fighter here, he gets this one. When HP is 50% or above, the increased defense by 10% and also movement up by 2. His movement was 4 previously, making him totally unusable. After SSP converting, he gets 6. So when we get the second part of the Gundam X story, then you can think about this guy if you do need a tank, finally, because of this defense increase by 10%. Okay, his survivability increased by a lot. So that's how I judge unit, like if you get a huge advantage from SSP converting that guy, that means that you make full use of your SSP conversion material. Like you get a lot of return in that per SSP conversion material that you use. Okay, so now the Dark Gundam, both the development diagram and the gacha ones also get a really strong abilities increase. Look at this one. He gets a heal. So this guy is like, how to say, a healing tank. They both has restore on HP at the start of every turn, and now when they get 50% or below, restore HP by 30%. Okay, so this increase their survivability by a lot, and you also get a 5 range weapon. Although this is useless, like you will never attack your enemy as a durability unit. So this one also is the same. You see, this guy, instead of heal, he get a defense increase every time you take damage from an enemy, and he also can restore on HP at the start of every turn. So yeah, a huge increase in survivability. And then the Saikoro Gundam is also the same. He gets defense increase every time he gets attacked. Tada, this one. Yeah. Defense increased by 5% up to 25% each time you take damage from an enemy. So increasing his survivability. Then Gundam Alex, the Queen Manta, Alpha Zero, and Forbidden Gundam also they get ability increase. Let me see. And T1, this guy, Choba Bomber. Tada. Wait. Yeah, look at this. Increase defense by from 10% to 15%, and then when the enemy attacks with physical weapon, reduce damage taken by 20 to 30%. And when fighting against Zeon, you get an extra attack in defense by 15%. So yeah, quite a strong tank. And also your defense goes up to 12,900 here. He has a really high natural defense. Okay, then comes to the Queen Manta. Same thing. This one after SSP converting, get this one. When HP is 50% or above, increase defense by 10%, and movement got increased by 5. To 5. Okay, so there is that, and then the Alpha Zero. So the rest of the units, the durability units, they only increase either their HP or defense, change in weapon, but their abilities doesn't get anything increased. Okay, Alpha Zero, look at the HP increased by 5%, beam weapon damage taken up reduction. Beam weapons damage taken reduction increased by 10%. So it increases his survivability by quite a bit. And then after that, the Forbidden Gundam. Forbidden Gundam has been, the only really great SR durability unit. So I've already mentioned this guy a long time ago in my development diagram video. Like among the SR units, you already know the attacker, the support unit. None of them worth mentioning because the support unit from SR can only get a level 4 debuff at maximum. So next comes the durability unit. Among the SR unit, the durability ones, the best one is the Forbidden Gundam. Now comes with an extra 5% more HP. Yeah, so really great. They are there because in this website, in the effective HP ranking list, they are there. So if you watch my other videos, if I put the UR unit at limit break 0, then if I put them at limit break 0, the UR ones, all the SSR actually are better than the URs. So that's why, if you saw me doing Master League, the only units that are very much worth SP converting and permanently replacing the UR units are the durability units, because you only need their HP and defense and their passive abilities. That's it. Their job is to absorb damage from your enemy. So you need stats, and the best way to get stats is to MLB and SP convert them. Okay, so if you cannot limit break your UR unit, they will get replaced by the SSR unit. Okay, so without conditional passive, the Gundam G Quarks has the highest effective HP, meaning his survivability, followed by the Daryl Belt, because that's why the Daryl Belt I put him on the list there for improved survivability, because he is one of the best tank. Okay, so, in terms of survivability Only problem is the pilot. Okay, but you do have Noria for the pilot, so it's quite okay. And then after that, the Night Sasori, Providence Gundam, 1.5 Gundam, Gundam Astray, Gaia Gundam, Gundam Astray Jin. So if you do use any of these units, it's better to just use them and SSP convert them if you do need more survivability. But you know that you only increase their HP and defense. That's it. Even though they get a new weapon, you will never use them if you use them for their support defense. Okay, so if you only get a HP and defense increase, if you don't really need them, then just throw it to the attacker. Okay, because your weapon is useless if you just support defense your whole life. Okay, so that's why the Gundam X Divider is there, and then after that the Unicorn Gundam, the Elfrid Thorn, blah blah blah. You can just go to this website and take a look at the effective HP that they have. This does not include the new abilities that they get when SSP converting. Okay, now comes the conditional passive. What is a conditional passive? Is the one that when you fight a Seed unit, you get advantage. If you fight against Seed Astray, Seed Destiny, you get an advantage. And when you fight against this one is Psychomu, I think. No, Neo Zeon. This one is fighting against Neo Zeon, you get an advantage. Then C Gundam, also when you're fighting against EFSF, you get an advantage. Look at this. EFSF. When enemies are from the specified attacks, attack and defense increase by 15%. So in theory, C Gundam should have been a really, really good tank. The only problem is that we don't have a MAFT durability pilot. Okay, so he doesn't have a pilot. Okay, you just have to settle down with UR pilot to pilot this guy, but eventually he will get replaced by, for example, if Gundam Elfrid Thorn is being piloted by Suleta. No, that doesn't increase his survivability. Maybe like the Zeta Gundam 3P type when piloted by Judao should have higher survivability than the C Gundam, because you don't get that final damage taken reduction by 15% from matching the affinity tag. Okay, so that's why all these units now have higher survivability than the Gundam G-Quax. Previously, the Gundam G-Quax is at the top if you don't have any conditional, So they all have conditional passive. Like the one that, for example, some of these like the Zakuto FZ goes up here is because his conditional is to require him to be 50% or below. So if you can fulfill this, then you can get this defense increase, but it is actually a hard requirement. Like you need to get hit by your enemy first, then you get this bonus. So before you get hit at all, you are actually weaker. Okay, so take a grain of salt, okay, when you are watching this list. But then again, don't overkill on your survivability. It's better to just throw your SSP conversion to an actual attacker. That's where you want to invest your material the most. Okay, so now okay, all the SSP, all the units that are worth mentioning to SSP convert, those are the units. Now, which one you want to SSP convert, it goes back to you guys. Okay, at the end of the day, in summary, when you want to SSP convert an attacker, do find the ones that either deal the highest damage or the one that get a 5 range weapon from that SSP converting. Okay, and then for the durability unit, find the one that gets the abilities increase and also a movement increase. Okay, the weapon doesn't really matter, but if you can have a preemptive strike and you can make use of that preemptive strike either by using attacker pilot or support pilot or durability pilot, if you can make use of the preemptive strike, then the preemptive strike is the biggest advantage you can get from a durability unit. And finally, the support unit, you will always end up using ultimate unit or UR unit for their level 6 debuff. So support unit you don't really need to SSP convert them, but if you do want to SSP convert them, I already told you the one that deals the highest damage. That's it. And has a 6 range weapon. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Very long video. That's why thanks for watching up until this part. So if you last until this part, watching the whole thing, do leave a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching this very long video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. So bye bye.